Have you ever noticed how sometimes, in our earnest pursuit of a healthier life, we can become almost instinctively efficient, almost automated in our routines, even when those routines quietly contradict our deeper well-being? There's something truly strange about the way we wholeheartedly embrace habits designed to save us time, money, and stress, like meal prepping and diligently reheating leftovers, convinced we're doing our bodies a favor, only to discover a subtle, silent undermining occurring beneath the surface. We portion out our meticulously prepared meals, feeling a glow of accomplishment, believing we've locked in nutrition for days to come. But what if one of these very knacks of convenience, this practical gesture, particularly the one you repeat, perhaps every Tuesday with your health food leftovers, was placing an unnoticed, heavy burden on one of your body's most crucial, yet often overlooked organs? How can such a simple, well-intentioned act, so common in modern life, potentially turn a nourishing meal into a silent source of subtle distress for your hard-working pancreas? This is the compelling question we're going to gently unravel today. Our journey begins, as many discoveries do, in the realm of the everyday. Picture this. It's a busy Sunday afternoon, and you're in your kitchen, brimming with good intentions. Perhaps you're chopping vibrant greens, simmering whole grains, or roasting lean protein, creating a symphony of nourishing components. You're batch cooking, preparing wholesome meals for the week ahead, strategically filling those neat, airtight containers. You feel a sense of accomplishment, a quiet triumph against the chaos of demanding work schedules and the temptation of less healthy, quick fixes. This thoughtful planning is an act of genuine care, a commitment to sustained energy, balanced nutrition, and making mindful choices for your body and your wallet. It's smart, it's resourceful, it's what modern health advice often champions. But here's where the often unseen layer of complexity enters the scene. Food, once it's been cooked, is not a static object. It's a living landscape of molecular structures that begin to change the moment the heat is removed. And these changes don't just stop at cooling. They continue, influenced by storage, time, and crucially, the reapplication of heat. Think of your refrigerator as a silent crucible where various microscopic processes are underway. Processes that accelerate or take different pathways when introduced to secondary heating. It's a chemistry experiment unfolding right in your lunchbox, and not always to our biological advantage, especially when it comes to the diligent organ we call the pancreas. Consider, for a moment, the often championed leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, celery, even beetroot and its greens. They are undisputed powerhouses of nutrition. We blend them into smoothies, wilt them into stir-fries, layer them into casseroles, and serve them alongside virtually every healthy meal. And rightly so, they flood our bodies with vitamins, minerals, and an abundance of health-protecting antioxidants. Yet these wonderful greens also naturally contain compounds called nitrates. In their fresh, raw state, or even when gently cooked and consumed immediately, these nitrates are generally harmless and in many ways beneficial. They've been lauded for their potential role in supporting cardiovascular health, improving blood flow, and contributing to overall vitality. However, when these cooked greens sit for a period, whether slowly cooling on a countertop for too long or stored in your refrigerator for a few days, they enter a new phase of transformation. Naturally occurring bacteria, those invisible residents on and in our food, begin to get to work. These microbes possess enzymes that convert those relatively innocuous nitrates into nitrites. Nitrites alone start to tip the balance slightly towards a less desirable state. The true challenge for your internal chemistry, for that quiet yet profoundly essential gland called the pancreas, arises when you reintroduce these nitrite-rich greens to significant heat, such as zapping them in the microwave or stir-frying them once more. The secondary cooking acts as a chemical catalyst. In this heated environment, particularly in the presence of protein or certain amino acids, these nitrites can readily transform into entirely new, far more problematic compounds. Nitrosamines are a group of chemical compounds that have long been a subject of concern in nutritional science. Reputable organizations like the World Health Organization have explicitly classified them as probable human carcinogens. This means they are implicated in increasing the risk of various cancers, including those affecting the stomach, esophagus, and critically for our discussion today, the pancreas. It's not about immediate dramatic poisoning, but rather the cumulative impact. Imagine introducing a small, consistent stressor into your internal ecosystem week after week. Each exposure might seem minor, almost imperceptible, but like countless drops of water eventually shaping stone, these repeated chemical incursions, these tiny assaults on your cells, demand continuous detoxification and repair from your body, particularly from sensitive organs like the pancreas. Your pancreas is an unsung hero, an industrious gland tucked away deep in your abdomen, behind your stomach. It performs two absolutely non-negotiable roles that are foundational to your very existence. First, it's a master digestive factory, churning out powerful enzymes that break down all the fats, proteins, and carbohydrates you consume, ensuring that nutrients can be absorbed. Without it, you couldn't derive life-sustaining energy from your food. Second, and perhaps even more pivotal in the context of our modern diet, it's the highly attuned conductor of your blood sugar orchestra, producing crucial hormones like insulin and glucagon. These hormones delicately balance your blood glucose levels, ensuring every cell receives the energy it needs without overwhelming your system. When nitrosamines and other reactive compounds derived from reheated foods constantly circulate, they place a direct inflammatory and oxidative stress on these hard-working pancreatic cells. A perpetually stressed and inflamed pancreas struggles to perform its delicate dance of enzyme and hormone production, potentially leading to a cascade of issues over time, from digestive inefficiencies to insulin resistance and increasing the vulnerability to more severe conditions, including various forms of pancreatitis and indeed concerns about pancreatic cancer. But the subtle sabotage of reheating doesn't limit itself to leafy greens. It extends to another common and often deeply ingrained habit: reheating foods that were originally cooked with or absorb fats and oils. Think of that leftover casserole, the remnants of last night's stir-fry, or even big chicken that absorbed some cooking oil. When oils are first subjected to heat, they naturally begin a process called oxidation. This means their delicate molecular structures break down, forming free radicals and harmful compounds like aldehydes. Now, when you take those same foods, infused with already partially oxidized oils, and reheat them again, you supercharge this process. You accelerate the formation of these highly reactive and damaging compounds. Free radicals are like rogue missiles inside your body. They possess unpaired electrons and desperately seek to stabilize themselves by stealing electrons from healthy cells, causing a chain reaction of damage known as oxidative stress. Your body has sophisticated antioxidant defense systems, but they can become overwhelmed by a continuous barrage. This sustained oxidative stress creates a low-grade systemic inflammation. For the pancreas, which is already a high-traffic intersection for blood sugar regulation and enzymatic processes, this chronic inflammatory state is incredibly debilitating. It's like asking an athlete to constantly perform at their peak while simultaneously exposing them to environmental toxins. Eventually, their performance and health will decline. The SATs, especially common vegetable oils high in polyunsaturated fats, are particularly susceptible to this process, transforming a healthy meal into something far less benign with each reheat. And what about those comforting, satiating staples, rice and potatoes? Often central to a planned meal, they too hold subtle complexities when reheated. When you cook potatoes or rice and then allow them to cool, particularly in the refrigerator, a portion of their digestible starch transforms into what is called resistant starch. This is actually a very good thing. Resistant starch acts more like a dietary fiber, bypassing digestion in the small intestine, and instead fermenting in the large intestine. This fermentation feeds beneficial gut bacteria, contributing to a healthier microbiome, and it also slows down the rate at which glucose enters your bloodstream after a meal, demanding less frantic insulin release from your pancreas. However, the picture shifts somewhat upon reheating. While not all resistant starch is necessarily lost, the way you reheat matters. Aggressive, high-temperature reheating, often found in microwaves that create uneven hotspots, can degrade some of this beneficial resistant starch. When this happens, a meal that was originally a balanced source of slower-release energy can suddenly lead to a quicker, more pronounced spike in blood sugar. And for your pancreas, repeated sharp blood sugar spikes throughout the day and week mean repeated surges in insulin production. Imagine perpetually pushing the accelerator pedal of your car. Eventually, the engine will wear down. The pancreas, though remarkably resilient, is not limitless in its capacity. Chronic, excessive demand for insulin can contribute to insulin resistance, where your cells become less responsive to insulin signals, forcing the pancreas to work even harder to maintain normal blood sugar, a critical pathway towards metabolic disorders like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. Furthermore, high-temperature reheating of starchy foods can sometimes contribute to the formation of acrylamide, another compound identified as a probable human carcinogen, especially if foods are allowed to become overly browned or crispy. The message woven through these chemical shifts and physiological responses is not one of fear, but of profound understanding and empowered choice. It's important to realize that our bodies are incredibly complex, intricate systems, and they don't always operate on an all-or-nothing principle. No single instance of reheating a specific food is likely to trigger catastrophic health issues. However, the cumulative, consistent application of these practices, the quiet drip, drip, drip of stressors week after week, month after month, year after year, can erode the margins of safety and optimal function that our vital organs, particularly our hardworking pancreas, rely upon. The long-term consequences are rarely dramatic in their onset, but emerge as a slow, insidious decline that often feels like just aging or bad luck. Subtle symptoms like chronic fatigue, digestive discomfort, inexplicable weight fluctuations, or a lingering sense of malaise after meals could, for some, be whispers from an overburdened pancreas. It's natural to feel a pang of recognition here, perhaps a sense of surprise, or even a touch of frustration that something so seemingly harmless could have such deep, quiet implications. And if you've been doing this, please understand that you are not alone, and it's certainly not your fault. This is not about judgment, but rather about bringing to light nuanced insights that aren't typically shared in mainstream dietary advice. We are taught to be practical, to be resourceful, to be economical, and these habits are often instilled with the best intentions for our health. The intricate biochemistry of reheating food isn't something easily discoverable or commonly discussed at the dinner table. You were simply navigating your life with the best knowledge you had. This understanding offers you profound validation for your experience. And this understanding, once embraced, becomes a powerful tool for self-care. It transforms the act of heating your food from a mere functional step into an opportunity for thoughtful consideration. The truly uplifting truth is that your body, your magnificent body, including that resilient pancreas, possesses an incredible capacity for regeneration and healing when you reduce the persistent burdens it faces. Small shifts informed by this newfound awareness can ripple outwards, creating significant positive impacts on your health without demanding an impossible overhaul of your lifestyle. For example, when it comes to those wonderful leafy greens, rather than reheating them, perhaps aim to consume them freshly cooked or enjoy any leftovers cold in a vibrant salad, tucked into a sandwich, or even blended into a cooled smoothie the next day. This circumvents the secondary heating stage entirely. For fats and oils, choosing cooking methods like gentle steaming, poaching, or baking, rather than high-heat frying, can make a difference in how well those lipids stand up to potential reheating. And when reheating is unavoidable, consider warming meals gently, perhaps on the stovetop over low heat, rather than intense microwaving, and avoid reheating foods multiple times. Rapidly cooling leftovers after the initial cook and storing them properly in the refrigerator, or even freezing some portions right away, minimizes bacterial activity and overall chemical degradation. Imagine the subtle, profound shift within your system as you lighten the load on your diligent pancreas. Each conscious choice, opting for fresh over repeatedly reheated, cooling and storing with greater care, reheating more gently, or perhaps rethinking what goes into the reheat pile altogether, sends a deeply nurturing message to your entire being. You're reducing the systemic inflammation, you're lessening the oxidative stress, and you're allowing your vital internal processes to unfold with greater ease and harmony. This isn't about rigid rules, but about a more profound reverence for the subtle alchemy of food and the magnificent design of your body. It's about empowering you to integrate convenience with genuine care, ensuring that every Tuesday, and indeed every single day, you are not just nourishing your hunger, but profoundly supporting your deepest, most enduring well-being. It's a gentle yet powerful commitment to honoring the delicate balance within, cultivating an environment where your pancreas and your entire body can truly thrive. If this exploration has offered you a fresh perspective, if it's gently illuminated pathways to better choices, we'd be so grateful if you would acknowledge it with a quiet like. Feel free to share your own experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Your wisdom enriches our collective understanding. And if you wish to continue exploring these nuanced, often hidden facets of health and well-being, we warmly invite you to subscribe, becoming a part of this gentle community focused on authentic self-care. Thank you for walking this path of deeper understanding with us, for listening with an open heart, and for taking this crucial step towards a more informed and compassionate relationship with your amazing body.